Most people don't remember the expensive gifts they received years ago, but they never forget who held their hand when life felt heavy. Take a moment and think about the happiest memory you have. Not the biggest achievement, not the most expensive vacation, not the day you bought something you had always wanted. Chances are, the memory that came to your mind was much simpler than that. Maybe it was someone waiting for you to come home, a warm hug after an exhausting day, a laugh that made your stomach hurt, a quiet drive with someone you loved, or a conversation that lasted long into the night. Isn't it amazing? We spend so much of our lives chasing the extraordinary, believing that happiness is waiting somewhere in the future, after the promotion, after we earn a little more, after life finally slows down. But when we look back, the moments that stay with us are rarely the grand ones. They're the ordinary moments we almost didn't notice. A smile across the room, someone making your favorite cup of coffee without being asked, a gentle drive safe, a hand reaching for yours without saying a word, someone sitting beside you when there was nothing they could do except be there. Those moments don't ask for attention, they don't make headlines, they don't seem important while they're happening. Yet somehow, they become the memories our hearts hold on to the longest. Because deep down, what we remember isn't how much something cost. We remember how someone made us feel loved, safe, seen. And maybe that's why the little things matter far more than we ever realize. Maybe that's one of the quiet mistakes many of us make without even realizing it. We spend so much of our lives waiting for the big moments. The next vacation, a birthday celebration, an anniversary, a promotion. The day we finally have enough time, or enough money, or enough freedom to enjoy life. We tell ourselves, things will be better then. We'll slow down then. We'll make more memories then. But life has a gentle way of reminding us that happiness doesn't always arrive on special occasions. In fact, most of life happens in between them, between one birthday and the next, between one holiday and another, between the milestones we celebrate, those ordinary Tuesdays, those quiet Wednesday evenings, those lazy Sunday mornings. They may not seem important while we're living them, but one day they become the years we look back on. It's easy to spend weeks planning a single celebration, choosing the perfect gift, making reservations, decorating for a special occasion. Yet we often rush through the ordinary days as if they're only something to get through, as if real life hasn't started yet. But what if these ordinary days are the real life? What if the moments we keep overlooking are the very moments we'll miss the most? Because if you think about it, a life isn't built from a handful of unforgettable days. It's built from thousands of quiet mornings, simple dinners around the table, conversations on the way home, shared smiles in passing, and the comfort of knowing someone is there beside you. Those moments rarely ask us to stop and notice them. They're small, they're ordinary, they're easy to forget, until years later when we realize it all. They were the pieces that quietly built a beautiful life. Maybe that's why happiness so often arrives quietly. It doesn't always knock on the door with fireworks or life-changing moments. More often, it slips into our lives disguised as something ordinary. A cup of coffee waiting for you before you've even asked. A message that simply says, drive safely. Just 3 words, so easy to overlook. Yet hidden inside those 3 words is another message. I want you to make it home. Someone is waiting for you. You matter to me. Sometimes it's a hug before leaving for work, only a few seconds long, but enough to remind you that no matter what the day brings, you don't have to face it alone. Sometimes it's someone remembering the way you take your coffee, or saving the last piece of your favorite dessert, or picking up your favorite snack at the grocery store without being asked. Small things, almost invisible to everyone else, but never invisible to the heart. Because those moments quietly say, I notice you. I remember you. You are important to me. And perhaps one of the most meaningful questions anyone can ask isn't, how are you? It's, how are you really? Because there's a difference. The first question is often answered with, I'm fine. The second invites honesty. It tells someone, I'm here. I'm listening. You don't have to pretend with me. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give another person isn't advice. It isn't money. It isn't solving every problem. Sometimes it's simply making them feel seen, making them feel that their presence matters, that their voice matters, that their heart matters. When you look back on the people who made the biggest difference in your life, chances are they weren't the ones who did one extraordinary thing. They were the ones who kept showing up in ordinary ways, with kindness, with consistency, with quiet acts of love that never asked for recognition. Because in the end, happiness rarely comes from a single, unforgettable moment. It grows from hundreds of small moments that gently whisper the same truth, day after day. You matter. And perhaps the most surprising thing about life is this. We usually don't realize what mattered most until it's no longer part of our everyday routine. One day, years from now, you probably won't remember which phone you owned. You won't remember what brand of shoes you wore, or how much that special dinner cost. The things that once seemed so important will slowly fade from your memory. But other memories, the quiet ones, have a way of staying. You'll remember someone's laugh echoing through the house, the kind of laugh that made you smile before you even knew why. You'll remember standing together in the kitchen, talking while dinner was cooking. Not because the conversation changed your life, but because, for a few simple minutes, life felt complete. You'll remember sitting together on the couch after a long day, maybe watching a movie, maybe saying almost nothing at all, just sharing the same space, feeling at peace because someone you loved was there. You'll remember those slow afternoon walks with no destination, no schedule to follow, no reason to hurry, just two people walking side by side, talking about anything or nothing. At the time, those moments may have felt ordinary, almost forgettable. But life has a beautiful way of revealing their value only after they've passed. Sometimes after the children have grown, sometimes after the house becomes quieter, sometimes after the chair beside you is no longer occupied. That's when you realize what your heart had been collecting all along. Not expensive things, not perfect days, but moments. Tiny, ordinary moments that quietly became priceless. Because memories aren't measured by their price, they're measured by how deeply they made us feel, by the people who were there, by the love that filled the silence, by the simple comfort of knowing you didn't have to face life alone. In the end, the moments we treasure most are rarely the ones we planned. They're the ones we almost overlooked. The ordinary evenings, the familiar voices, the shared laughter, the gentle presence of someone who made an ordinary day feel like home. And maybe that's why the most beautiful memories in life are almost never expensive. They're simply filled with love. Maybe that's why love should never be saved for special occasions. We often tell ourselves we'll make more time later. We'll say the words on our anniversary. We'll plan something meaningful at Christmas. We'll write the card on their birthday. We'll celebrate when life becomes less busy. But life has a way of reminding us that tomorrow is never guaranteed. And love was never meant to be reserved for a few dates on the calendar. It was always meant to be lived in the ordinary moments. Today is enough. This ordinary afternoon, this quiet evening is enough. You don't need a special reason to tell someone they matter. Sometimes a simple message is all it takes. I was thinking about you. I hope you're having a good day. Drive safely. Words that take only a few seconds to send, but can stay in someone's heart for years. Sometimes it's making one phone call instead of saying, "I'll call tomorrow." Sometimes it's choosing to sit together for 10 extra minutes before the day begins. Sometimes it's a hug that lasts just a little longer than usual. Not because anything is wrong, but because someone you love deserves to feel loved today. The beautiful thing about small acts of kindness is that we rarely know how much they mean to the other person. That hug may be the comfort they needed after a difficult day. That phone call may arrive at exactly the right moment. That simple, I love you," may become the sentence they remember long after the conversation is over. We don't get to choose which moments become someone's favorite memory. Sometimes it's the birthday celebration, but more often, it's a completely ordinary Tuesday. An unexpected smile, a warm embrace, a few gentle words spoken at just the right time. So don't wait for life to become perfect before showing your love. Don't wait for a holiday to express your gratitude. Don't wait for a milestone to create a memory. Because the smallest gesture you make today may quietly become a memory someone carries with them for the rest of their life. As we come to the end of this message, perhaps there's only one thing worth remembering. Life is rarely changed by a single extraordinary moment. More often, it's shaped by thousands of quiet ones. The mornings we almost rushed through, the conversations we almost didn't have, the hugs we almost forgot to give, the laughter that filled an ordinary room, the simple moments we assumed would always be there. One day, many years from now, you'll probably look back on your life, and it's unlikely you'll count how many things you owned. You won't measure your life by the size of your house, the car you drove, or the latest phone you carried in your pocket. Those things serve their purpose, but they rarely become the stories we tell with a smile. Instead, your heart will travel somewhere much quieter. You'll remember the person who made coffee before you even got out of bed, the voice that called just to ask, "Did you make it home safely?" The familiar laugh that could brighten even your hardest day. The evenings that felt ordinary then, but precious now. You'll remember the people who made you feel welcome, the people who listened without rushing you, the people who stayed when life wasn't easy. Because in the end, that's what love leaves behind. Not a collection of expensive things, but a collection of beautiful moments, tiny moments, gentle moments, moments that quietly became the foundation of a meaningful life. So if today feels ordinary, don't underestimate it. If someone you love is sitting across from you, don't wait for a perfect occasion to smile at them. If you have the chance to send a message, make the call, share the laugh, or simply be present, take it. Because we never truly know which ordinary moment is becoming someone's forever memory. And perhaps that's the greatest reminder of all. The little things, the words we almost didn't say, the hugs we almost didn't give, the time we chose to spend together instead of somewhere else. They were never small. They were the moments that quietly became a beautiful life. Because in the end, the little things were never little at all.